The Justin Robert Young program brought to you, as always, by everybody who supports us at PayJuryDaily.com. Yeah, folks. Yeah. Oh, it's there. It's there. We're doing it. We're doing it big. Head on over there. I mean, come on. You want to support the show? If this show is part of your daily life, we don't have advertisers, but we do have you. We do have you, and that matters to me. So head on over there, PayJuryDaily.com. It is where you can support the show on our Patreon. Also, stickers or DIAF extended through the weekend. We have a $5 Night Attack button packs, and I'm not kidding. I think that there is one singular fanny pack left at $8. And when they're gone, considering how slow it took to sell them, they ain't going to get reordered. So if you want a Diamond Club neon green fanny pack, now's the time to get it. You're going to want it, too. South by Southwest right around the corner. It's a pretty sweet time to have a fanny pack. All right, enough talking about how we support the show. What do you say that we just do the damn thing? Oh, friends. Welcome to the Justin Robert Young podcast, the last for the week here. We go Monday through Thursday recording the show. This is where we catch up on all the emails. We're going to get into what you guys, your last stands on chain food and fast food that you defend to your death. We're going to get into high thoughts, one of our most favorite parts of the week. But first, we're going to tell a little personal story. Friends, the last alcoholic beverage that I have had was in Las Vegas on New Year's Eve. I woke up after a fantastic night seeing Tenacious D in the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino, and along with my wife, my podcast co-host Brian Brushwood and his wife, and my oftentimes podcast co-host Bonnie Brushwood, we went down to the spa area and got pedicures. It was there, getting a pedicure, that I had a beer with Brian. We took some photos. It was a fun time. We flew back to our home in the Bay Area, and at that time, we commenced with Dry January. Now, I had never heard of Dry January before a couple years ago, and one of our supporters here, Will Harris, did it, and I now knew that it existed, right? I mean, I didn't really have any other big bon mot there, except I found out that it was a thing. Apparently, in England, it is a tradition, although a new one. And so now, I read to you what Dry January is, because many of you might have heard me talk about this over the last month and didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And I'm here to tell you, I'm sorry, I should have done an explainer on this earlier, but since this is literally the last day that I can do a relevant explainer for Dry January, we're going to do one right now. Dry January is a public health campaign urging people to abstain from alcohol for the month of January, particularly practiced in the United Kingdom. It is generally accepted where the new year starts midweek that Dry January commences the following Monday, allowing for a debaucherous start to the year before abstinence. So number one, first and foremost, apparently these Britos want to give themselves a little wiggle room there. I want to say, okay, well, I mean, look, if New Year's Eve's on a Friday, I don't know, you could have Saturday, you could have Sunday, but Monday, sober as a motherfucking priest. You better be on your mind your P's and Q's, refusing each and every libation. That's what you need to be doing on Monday. Saturday, woo! It's lit. Sunday, fuck yeah, mimosas, Bloody Marys, micheladas. We're having a great fucking time. Monday, though, but knock it off. We continue. The campaign as a formal entity appears to be relatively recent, having been described as, quote, sprung up in recent years, even in 2014. However, the Finnish government, the Finns, Finns up, Finns to the left, Finns to the right. It's the only game in town. The Finnish government has launched a campaign called Sober January in 1942 as part of its war effort. I mean, geez, that one probably could have been. Well, I guess Hitler was sober. Now I distrust Sober January. Let me continue. The term Dry January was registered as a trademark by the charity Alcohol Concern in mid-2014. The first ever Dry January campaign by Alcohol Concern occurred in January 2013. In the lead up to the January 2015 campaign, for the first time, Alcohol Concern partnered with Public Health England. So here is an element that I did not do, but I am aware is common in England. So you do Dry January. And I don't know what this says about the alcohol consumption in England. But when you do Dry January, you then, it is understood that you create a charity page. Kind of like when you're running a marathon and you ask people to like donate to the fact that you're running a marathon. One of those things, right? But instead of running a marathon, you're just not drinking. It's just a thing that you're like, hey, support this charity and I'm going to not drink. It's weird. I don't know. I mean, apparently it's a fairly common thing in England, so I don't want to yuck on anybody else's yum. And as long as the money's going to charity, the money's going to charity. But apparently that's a thing out there. I did not do that. I think it would have seemed weird. Let me ask you guys. Would you guys have found it weird if just on January 1st I came out and I'm like, I'm not drinking. Give money to this charity. I guess ultimately I'm just raising money for the charity, right? Although it does seem odd. It seems odd that the performative task, it actually would have been better that I'm doing it as a funny thing, as an entertainment thing. Like if you're like, oh, well, Justin's told a bunch of stories about getting drunk and now he's not going to drink, that would be more context than just, I don't know, your workmate Ed. If Ed was just like, I'm not drinking, and you're like, you drink? Ed, you're kind of weird. I don't think any of us have seen you outside the office, and almost all of us have seen you discreetly surfing porn when you're not looking. In January 2014, according to Alcohol Concern, which initiated the campaign, over 17,000 Britons stopped drinking for that month. While there is controversy as to the efficacy and benefits of the practice, a 2014 survey by the University of Sussex found that 6 months following January 2014, out of 900 surveyed participants, in the custom 72% had kept harmful drinking episodes down, and 4% were still not drinking. And so now I reflect, for your benefit, my lessons I have learned from Dry January. I have to say that Dry January has been very, very effective for me. I have broken, at least temporarily, a few bad habits. And a few of them are fairly root programming. For example, I don't have a lot of I'll just have a drink in me. That makes sense. I At least that's not my instinct. I will have a drink if it's like a business situation. You know, it's not like I'm trying to sneak one. But I'm definitely the first guy to either convince himself or convince others that one more round, one more round, one more round, one more round. I'm a one more round kind of guy. That's just who I am. I always want to keep the party going. I like talking to people. I like hanging out with people. I like understanding people. This is just who I am. I tend to find that these situations happen more often in situations where people are a little loose. You know, maybe tie one on a little bit. However, I realize, and it has been highlighted by this little experience, that maybe sometimes that is not right to do. Maybe sometimes there are other elements of my life that do indeed take precedence. I would be lying if I told you that I don't I don't think that I've been more productive in this month. I believe I have. I think I've gotten more writing done. Not as much as I want. I think I've gotten more. I've gotten more stuff done. We got the album out. That was huge, and I think the album would have gotten out one way or another. As soon as we set that date, I would have gotten it done. But I do think that the one biggest element of sober January or dry January that really played out for me was my mornings. At the end of the day, if I'm drinking up until I go to sleep, which, you know, happens. Glass of wine, 2 glasses of wine, 5 glasses of wine, you know, you're just hanging out. It takes a little bit longer to get going. I'm a very easily distracted human being. And that is only exacerbated when I am a little foggy in the morning. I think I told you guys here on this show that the biggest lesson about sober January for me was that my day had kind of flipped. Previously, I would wake up a little bit foggy, and then I would be happy at the end of the day because I was able to have a drink. And then it kind of flipped. I woke up way more refreshed, and then I would get crabby at the end of the day because I wanted a drink. I wasn't allowed to have it. I think it was well worth it. And, as we all know, as I told you, every once in a while, you have to just prove you're not an alcoholic by going a performative amount of time without drinking. And so to that I say, bottoms up, motherfucker. Not an alcoholic. Proof positive. Let's go ahead and get into your emails. Oh, man, the salty cold fish have come out of the pond. They emailed me. They always do. They always do whenever I speak the truth. Whenever I tell each and every one of you folks that are listening to me, shivering your ass off right now, that living in a cold part of the country is a choice that you are making. You are a masochist. If you are raising a child in cold weather, you are a child abuser. I always get these emails, and here they came. Scoop of Faith writes, JuRY, I consider us friends. That's how a hard-working conservative who helps save lives like myself can financially support an avocado toast-loving, I need new earpods liberal like you. So I felt extra betrayed by your mockery. After I worked a long day serving the public in weather so cold my balls froze to the side of my leg, negative 35 wind chill, I sit down to relax with some JuRY Daily, and your words were like pulling up to my house while it's still on fire and laughing, I told you to change that wiring. As your official Christian correspondent, I want you to know that one of them is saying, fuck you! P.S. I still love snow and living here. Hey, look. I'm sure it's fantastic in Stockholm, where your syndrome is from. Jester Woot says, I was one of those abused children forced to grow up in New York my entire life. Now, this could be Stockholm syndrome talking. But I have to say, as much as I hate the damn snow, I'll happily take it over earthquakes, raging forest fires, tornadoes, hurricanes, fire ants, rattlesnakes, giant spiders, volcanoes, and raging floods. We New Yorkers also know that there are only 2 seasons, winter and construction, and who the fuck wants to live year-round in road construction season? Jester, you're going to live a magical life. Because if you ever move to a place without snow, it will always be a place that doesn't torture you for a large portion of the year. Gift yourself that. You deserve it, Jester. This is not me mocking you snow dwellers, all right? This is me at my most merciful. This is me proselytizing. This is me making my way into hostile territory to spread the good word, the word on high. The suffering you live is not permanent. Nay, there lies salvation, for his golden rays can shine upon you for the rest of your mortal days. Jester, come! Come to the light, Jester! BioCow writes, love the show and all you do, but I needed to write and then say this. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area where we never got snow, and I actually spent an entire winter wearing nothing but shorts on a dare. I've recently moved to Seattle, and although it's been cold, it has not snowed yet. But next week, fingers crossed, I'm looking forward to it. Living here is the first time I've actually experienced seasons, and I have to say, I'm loving it. It's been a great winter up here so far, and if I get a light dusting of snow, just enough to make a few snowballs and maybe slide down a hill, I'll be a very happy transplant. Being a Florida man turned Cali hipster, I'm not surprised you don't understand it. In Florida, there were only 3 forecasts no matter what time of year it was. Sun, hurricane, bath salt addict eating his own face. But having been a Pacific Northwest resident for over 6 months, come this weekend, all I can say is that if you don't like snow or cold weather, go back to Florida. Put on your tank top, flip-flops, and no helmet, and jump on a crotch rocket while you speed down your straight flat highways with no hills or turn. I'll be here in the land of micro-brews and beautiful views, continuing to turn lumbersexual and looking down on my former co-workers, the self-absorbed Silicon Valley elite. I know. Look, I actually doff my cap to you, BioCow. I do. Because you are experiencing something you have not experienced before. And I encourage everybody to do that. The world is a multifaceted, wonderful place, and you should sample from it. There is no nobility in only knowing one way to live life. You should experience. You should grow your palate. You should understand what else is out there. And indeed, you are right again when you say that there are no seasons in Florida. You are indeed right again when you say that there are minimal seasons in the Bay Area. And I am indeed right when I tell you that you'll get bored of them. I'm telling you. Look, it's a sweet deal now. Don't get me wrong. Everybody loves a little sampler platter when you walk up in the mall, right? And you get a little bourbon chicken. Like, you're like, bourbon chicken might be my favorite food. But if you ever get it, you're like, that first taste was better. That first taste was really good. I really like that first taste. I'm telling you, you're going to really enjoy that first dusting. Oh, it's going to be magical. And then you're going to have a fun little spring and all the flowers are going to bloom and you're going to say, oh, that's so nice. And then next year is going to happen, and maybe it'll snow more, and maybe you're going to skid off the road. And then the next year is going to happen, and you're going to have to look out onto your car and say, oh, I got to sweep all that snow off the windshield. And then the next year the same, and then the next year the same, and then the next year the same. And at a certain point, you're going to hear a small voice, a rumbling voice in your head. And by the way, it's going to be this voice right now. It's going to be, JuRY was right. They're nice seasons. They are. You'll get tired of them. All right. We also got a bunch of emails about chain food defense. Chain food defense. Jane said, I spent a lot of time in both Crystal and White Castle territory. I'd say their quality is pretty equal. White Castle tends to have fluffier buns, crispier patties because of the holes, and they are sweeter overall. Crystal tends to have sturdy buns, juicier patties, and have mustard that makes them a little tangier. Jane doing the motherfucking Lord's work. Kyle writes, the only chain that I will fight to the death for is Waffle House, or as it is affectionately known amongst my close friends, the Awful Waffle. It is unparalleled among 24-hour chains and breakfast joints alike. If a prospective partner refuses to eat Waffle House, it's time for us to go our separate ways. I cannot imagine life without it. It's not just a Waffle House, it's a waffle home. If it helps, I'm white and I listen to the show primarily while I'm blowing glass. That's pretty amazing, Kyle. And I wholeheartedly co-sign on the Waffle House. Cappy writes, so a non-Boar's Head pub sub that I think can rival the rest, if you like it hot or not, add the toppings that you keep popping, is the Buffalo Chicken Tender Sandwich. They always make it made to order. Fresh cooked strips, little lettuce, provolone, all with a squirt of their buffalo hot sauce. Now, I moved away from Florida before they started with the buffalo chicken tender sub. However, I will say that my boots on the ground reports say that sub is indeed the motherfucking bomb. So, I'm going to give you an A-OK for that one, Cappy, as well. But that brings us to the end of our week. How, my friends, do we end the JuRY Daily program for the week? Well, I think there's only one way to do it, and that is with the little segment we like to call High Thoughts. Jurassic Park would make Jurassic drugs. Life finds a way to get high. Fredo from Godfather. My sister and I joke about him being alive because he totally is. What do you think Fredo is doing now? He sure loves those Hail Marys and fishing. The Air Force initials are AF. Are they high? as fuck? Can I fart on your beard? Those are high thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, that about brings us to the end of this episode of the program. Our producers for the week: Bill, Dustin, BioCal, Robert H., Brian C., M., Trey the Melodic Man, Adam, and middle-aged Mike. Folks, if you want to send in an email, it is jurydaily@gmail.com. If you got a high thought, put high thought in the subject line. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat @Justin R. Young. And you can join our Discord, bit.ly/jury discord. I'm going to go get drunk as fuck. Until next time. This is your old pal, Justin Robert Young, asking you to please give a round of applause to Mr. Wacky. But also, please, don't die! Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.